Oh yeah, right, okay.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Hello everybody, Connor and I are back with yet another monetization ads-friendly guidelines video. So if you want to learn how to stay away from the yellow icon, meaning limited or no ads on your videos, watch this video. This video is going to be a follow-up to a video that I filmed with John forever ago where we talked about ads-friendly guidelines for the first time on this channel. What we are coming back to you today with is we have updated our help center based on all your feedback from the previous video that we filmed, and we now have more information that's available to you. Want to make it clear though, there are no changes to policies whatsoever. We're just simply giving you more information so you can make more informed decisions when you're making your content about whether you're expecting to get ad revenue or not. With that said,
we're going to deep dive for the first time into each one of the advertiser-friendly content guidelines, which is exactly what this new version of the article will be doing.
I was recording, can we see that?
Yeah. We can make this a fun one.
All right, what is the first category that we're going to dive into?
Yeah. So the first category is controversial issues and sensitive events. So for sensitive events, the types of things are war and death and tragedies. So in that case, think about any shootings or bombings that may be happening and related content. Those are the types of things that are going to receive the yellow icon. When it comes to controversial issues, those center around political conflicts, terrorism and extremism, and stories of sexual abuse.
Next up?
Next up, we have recreational drugs and drug-related content. So the first thing you might be asking yourselves is, what is a recreational drug from our perspective? And a recreational drug is anything that can alter the mental state and induce a high. And the types of things that we're focused on ensuring get the yellow icon to protect advertisers are promotion of substances that alter that mental state, products or services marketed as facilitating recreational drug use, and finally instructional content about producing, purchasing, or using those recreational drugs. And we have a ton more examples in terms of the types of drugs that we're talking about, as well as the types of instructional materials or paraphernalia that would fall into those categories.
And somewhat related to recreational drugs, we have tobacco-related content. Okay.
What we're talking about when it comes to tobacco-related content is promotion. So if you have content that is promoting tobacco, so if that's cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, if it's promoting tobacco-related products, so tobacco pipes or rolling papers, or if it's promoting products designed to simulate tobacco smoking, herbal cigarettes, e-cigarettes, etc.
E-cigarettes and vaping?
Vape.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, vaping is included there as well. That's all stuff that's going to get the yellow icon. So next up we have weapons-related content, and that focuses an awful lot on firearms. And as we've said before, the platform's focus is on keeping people safe online and offline as it relates to this category. But what it means for the advertiser-friendly guidelines and what can get the green icon and the yellow icon is around the sale of firearms. So if your content facilitates the sale of a firearm, or it facilitates the sale of a component of a firearm, or provides instruction on how to assemble a firearm, those are things that cannot get the green icon, that will receive the yellow icon.
And just a quick clarification to all you gaming creators out there, just to clarify, the weapons-related content ads-friendly guidelines do not apply to video game content. So another category that we have talked about before on this channel, harmful and dangerous acts.
So an awful lot of this focuses around pranks, challenges, dares, and stunts, and we have listed a ton of different examples. For example, in pranks, as you probably expected, pranks relating to suicide, death, or terrorism, like throwing a fake bomb at someone. Those are the types of pranks that cannot get the green icon. Other categories within harmful or dangerous acts are body modification and medical procedures. Now we're breaking it out with examples like invasive medical procedures. So if your content involves somebody getting an injection for whatever reason, that's something that can still get the green icon. If it is showcasing a full-blown surgery, that's something that's going to get the yellow icon because of the fact that it's more invasive. In addition to that, things like pimple popping and ingrown toenail removals, they're things that cannot get the green icon.
Yes, my sister loves those pimple popping videos.
And that's why I'll never meet her sister. In addition to that, we have harm to self, harm to others, or harmed by others. So again, that's focusing around suicide, eating disorders, stories of harassment or domestic violence, or stories relating to, for example, the outlier stuff like cannibalism. Those types of things that focus on harm are things that can only get the yellow icon. In addition, we have dangerous acts not to be imitated. That's content showing the consumption of substances in such quantities that can result in a toxic reaction. So an awful lot of the time we've come across content where somebody is ingesting something that just should not be eaten in any way, shape or form, and can be really dangerous for your health, if not threaten your life.
Would binge drinking also fall under this category?
Binge drinking would fall under this category. Then another interesting trend that we saw was around subway or underground surfing, where people are breaking kind of into metro stations and jumping from the top of one train carriage to another, or trying to stow away in between two carriages. And we saw various
This sounds like some superhero movie stuff.
It's Jason Bourne on the subway.
Okay, but it is not necessarily safe for these individuals who are doing it, so advertisers wouldn't feel comfortable having their ad show alongside it.
Exactly. In addition to that, there's roof-topping, which is another similar trend. And then we have what we call other challenge-based content. So YouTube's great because it's the home of really viral moments, and some of those are based around challenges. There's a portion of them that cannot get the green icon. They'll only ever get yellow. And those are things like the Kiki challenge, the fire challenge, or the bird box challenge.
Yes.
And the bird box challenge is an interesting one because of the fact that it was a really great piece of content from Netflix. However, when it came to the stuff that we were seeing being uploaded onto YouTube, it showed people being blindfolded and walking around and trying to cook in the kitchen or trying to cross a road blindfolded. So when challenge-based content moves into that territory where somebody can be put into a dangerous situation or can be harmed, those are pieces of content that cannot get the green icon.
Two more buckets under here.
Indeed, medical misinformation. So there are 3 different buckets here. Any anti-vaccination or AIDS denialist content. Another is non-medical treatments that promised to cure an untreatable disease. So if you are uploading content which says this turmeric drink will cure your cancer, that is not something that can receive the green icon.
Okay.
Content that implies that serious medical conditions do not exist or are an elaborate hoax. So if there is a body of scientific work that has said that there is a disease that really does exist and your content says that it doesn't, that's not something that can get the green icon either. Finally, we have any content that threatens or advocates for physical or mental harm. So that's pretty direct, threatening someone with real life harm or calling for the attack of another person. That's obviously not something that's going to get those monetization privileges. So next up we have hateful content, and that falls into 3 broad categories. The first is inciting hatred, and we have a pretty detailed definition of the types of things that fall into that category. Second is promotes discrimination or disparages or humiliates. Again, we have a ton of explanation there as to what that means. And then finally, terrorism. So content made by or in support of a terrorist group, something that is not going to get those full monetization privileges.
Yes, and once again, to further clarify, we're not making any new policy changes here. This is once again just giving you more information about the policies that already exist.
Next up we have incendiary and demeaning, which are broken out into 2 categories. So the first, content devoted to shaming or insulting an individual or group.
Would this be bullying?
Yes, it would. I think a helpful way to classify this is if you have a diss track where you're dissing another YouTuber.
Diss tracks can't earn ads on YouTube?
They can, but there is a line. So if the entirety of it is focused on the other person and how terrible a person they are and how they can't do anything right, that's not going to be able to receive the green icon.
What about satire in here?
That's typically where we see the green icon return to this type of content.
Context feels hard with this one.
Context is hard, and we don't always get it right, but we really analyze the diss community and try and break down where that line is between satire and real life criticism. To provide a little bit more color to that, we have another section that says harasses, intimidates, or bullies an individual or group of individuals. So if you're singling somebody out for abuse or harassment, you're encouraging your followers to harass someone, that's not something that's obviously going to be able to get those full monetization privileges. And we have language around malicious personal attacks, slander, or defamation. So that's where it moves beyond the satirical line into this line where no advertiser would want to appear on it. So Barbara, I'm going to test you on the next one to see how good you are at this and how much you've been listening to myself and John over the past year.
Oh, jeez.
So, inappropriate language. Could you break that out into the top 3 areas?
I feel like I talk about this all the time, not just with you. So 1, no profanity within the first 30 seconds of your video, no strong profanity within your title and your thumbnails, and then the sort of the level of the profanity, the strength of it also matters. So in the video I have with John, heck is okay, but more on the stronger side, the racial slurs, the types of content that we would not necessarily say right here, right now, in front of you, advertisers don't feel comfortable with it.
That is really spot on. Have you been cheating and looking at my notes this whole time?
No, I just get to film lots of these videos.
So the top things to keep in mind, as Barbara said, are if you have profanity in the title or the thumbnail, that's something that's not going to be able to get the green icon. If you're using profanity in that really hateful or derogatory way that Barbara referred to, then if there's strong profanity at the beginning of the video, or strong profanity used multiple times throughout the video, that's something that's not going to get the green icon. Next up is adult themes in family content. Now this is a really simple one because it just focuses on depictions of children or popular children's characters doing things that are adult in nature. So the things we would define there as adult in nature are storylines based around sex, violence, vulgarity, or other distasteful subjects.
With what we would know as more traditional types of like cartoons and or characters that are more family oriented, younger audience oriented.
So if you've Batman, Spider-Man, Elsa, etc., the Joker engaging in storylines that you would normally see in more mature content, that's something that will not receive the green icon. So next up we have sexually suggestive content, and this is where we wanted to provide a lot more clarity to the existing policy because this is a huge area of YouTube. People like discussing their personal lives, their romantic encounters, and that's definitely a huge component of the platform, but it's on us to outline the types of things within that community that can monetize so that you're clear. So we've divided that sexually suggestive content up into 3 buckets. The first is sexually suggestive content, and that focuses on videos of graphic sexual acts intended to arouse. If you have content where there is a focal point on nudity, if you have content featuring sex toys or sexual devices, that's something that's going to get the yellow icon. If there's explicit conversations about sex, so if you're recounting your first time, that's something that can't receive the green icon if it delves into the actual sexual encounter itself.
Like real details in there,
content that may be interpreted as promoting a sexual act in exchange for compensation, pretty clear cut. And then content related to the sex industry itself. We can move on to sexually gratifying content. So that's content depicting fetishes, sensationalist material focused on sex scandals, explicit audio with a focus on sexual arousal, and body art with a focus on nudity or intimate body parts. And then as our kind of catch-all third category, we have other explicit material. So that's videos of raw footage that include explicit animal mating scenes.
Any differentiation between content that is designed for educational, scientific, or other types of reasons like that?
So that's a really good question. The way we think about it is if you are discussing sex in an educational context, that is something that can receive the green icon. If your description or educational material goes beyond what you would find in a high school textbook around the biological ins and outs of it, then that's something that is going to receive the yellow icon.
And last but not least, we have violence.
So content containing gruesome, graphic, or disgusting accounts of imagery. So I think we discussed this before.
Yep.
You know, blood, guts, gore, sexual fluids, human or animal waste, crime scene, or accident-related photos,
Yep.
where it really focuses on the gore and
Yeah.
the outcome of violence.
Yep.
That is something that's going to receive the yellow icon.
Mm-hmm.
And then content depicting acts of violence. So where we have accounts or images of shootings, stuff that promotes violence towards animals, videos that contain graphic violence in the context of physical altercations. So if you have raw footage of two people beating the living daylights out of each other on the street,
Okay.
again, not green icon content, and raw footage of war casualties, and a couple of other little bullet points in there as well. One of the great things about listening to the community, as we have rewritten the current policy, which again remains exactly the same,
Yep.
we're just amplifying it with a couple more examples, is that we learn from you about the types of content that you feel that we're not doing a good enough job of defining for you as green icon or yellow icon. So please keep on talking to us. Please keep on leaving feedback within the comments.
Yeah, even things like, what about this? What about this? Those nitty-gritty, those detailed questions are actually extremely valuable for Conor and the rest of Conor's team.
And one thing to call out, just to make sure that you're putting your resources where they'll do most good, the specific feedback that we're asking for in relation to this on an ongoing basis is around the ad-friendly guidelines.
Yes.
It is not in relation to things like copyright,
Yep.
or YPP applications, which are a different
Yep.
area of work altogether.
Also, community guidelines, terms of service, terms of use, also separate from what we're talking about here. This is just the type of material that advertisers do and do not feel comfortable having their ads show alongside. So that's it for us. That is the end of this. Thank you so much for breaking this down. We will have a link to this Help Center article with all of these breakdowns and more information than what Conor and I covered here in the description down below so that you can go take a look at it.
Exactly. And Barbara told me to tell you to dislike and give the like this video. And I think you should probably subscribe as well, is that?
Yes. As a reminder to you, Creator Insider is our informal, behind-the-scenes, conversational type of channel where we just want to give you more information straight from the tech teams themselves. So if you want to get more content like this, please hit that subscribe button and tick that notification bell to make sure you get all notifications. We will see you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.